I now maybe switching a little more to the economic philosophies. Shashiji, your coalition has now come to power again in Kerala, and you have also spoken at length about liberalization and how you find that the fruits of that need to be distributed to those left behind. Tejasvi ji, you've been very vocal about Revdi politics and the mechanism of freebies that tend to dictate electoral outcomes. And Annamalai ji, you've spoken at length about how these incentives tend to take away from actual economic philosophies that could help shape India's growth. So I would like to ask the three of you, do you find that there is a tension in India between the way election outcomes happen and the need to provide these incentives or freebies that enable to stay in power? Is there a conflict between power and welfare in India?
I think I am perfectly eligible to answer this question because I come from Tamilnadu. And we have the highest debt among all the Indian states, 10,74,000 crore. And every ration card carries 4,74,000 rupee. We carry debt, highest. And since TVK is in power, Mr. Vijay is the chief minister. To put all his promises in action, this year he needs 93,000 crore. And you multiply that by 5 years, that is 1 year of Tamil Nadu's budget, which is 4.5 lakh crore. Very unfortunate, we have come to this stage. And of course, there is a trickle-down economics, but we have pushed it too far. And everything we kind of bring it under trickle-down economics, and we say, and politically it has become a very safe language. No political party wants to take a risk, and nobody wants to get into the people's anger mood. Politicians assume people want this, and they promise freebies over and above what is happening. And for example, if you look at our electricity system, because of this, our Tamil Nadu Electricity Board has got 1 lakh crore debt. There is no way we can clean it up. There is no way we can clean it up in the next 5-10 years. And all the startup guys, manufacturing companies, new guys, they want energy. You want data centers to come to Tamil Nadu. How can data centers come to Tamil Nadu? When the Tamil Nadu Electricity Board has got 1 lakh crore debt now. And no forward thinking. And of course, we have a Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's Economic Advisory Council headed by a Nobel laureate for 5 years. He sits in US and I think video conference he does there. And it has come to this stage now. I only hope politics becomes a bit bolder. And being bold is the need of the hour. When you have a very eminent person coming here and talking about big leap reform, 7.3% hitting it for 22 straight years. And for that to happen, the government has to become an enabler. And we are operating in a very safe space. Very unfortunate. And it is one political party biting a bullet. And once one party bites it, and this time, at least the good thing about Mr. Vijay TVK is, out of his 234 candidates, close to 200 candidates contested the election without giving a single paisa. Without giving a single paisa. That is one good thing that has come out of Tamil Nadu election. So the other Dravidian parties are like, I gave 2,000, he gave 3,000, people got both the money and they voted for Vijay. So next election, why should we give money? So I hope something like this happened. That is why I said it's a disruptor and black swan event. And I hope somebody bites the bullet. I don't have a direct answer. I can only pray and hope and see that somebody will take this in the future.
Tejasvi ji and Shashi Tharoor ji, you have real stake in the game, so.
I mean, my state is a bit different in that we don't have enough money to give anybody. So we haven't yet got into the Tamil Nadu game of bribing voters. And the Tamil Nadu game is quite creative. I heard about one by-election where the candidate actually distributed substantial sums of money by cutting currency notes in half and said, I'll give you the other half when I win. And he won. So it works. You know that story, Annamalai. So, I mean, this is Tamil Nadu, but Kerala is a bit different. I will say, however, that as a issue of principle, the distinction between essential welfare and freebies is a very difficult one to draw. As everyone knows, I tend to be on the sort of right wing of the Congress party when it comes to economics. I'm not a big fan of statism in any particular form, and I really believe in encouraging free enterprise, but with the need to generate revenue for the state, so the state is in a position to help those who have been marginalized and left out. Social liberalism, if you want, is my form of liberalism. And I think that philosophy can be implemented in Indian states, depending, of course, on your resource base. The problem with a state like Kerala is we are so overwhelmingly in debt that literally sort of by September every year, the state government runs out of funds and has to borrow afresh in order to pay salaries and Onam bonuses and so on. And this means that we are in a level of debt that has long been unsustainable. If we were an independent country, we would have been declared bankrupt a long time ago. We're sustained by the fact that we have the security of being part of India. So this is the biggest challenge. How do you manage to generate enough revenue to be able to afford the kind of welfare measures you deem politically necessary? And Annamalai is right that all parties, pretty much, including his, I might add, make promises that mathematically are not justifiable. They cannot be sustained out of budgets. And of course, they find ways of finessing it. They will say, well, actually, what we meant was we will get to it eventually. So it won't be in the first year that you won't get the full amount we promised. By year 5, you will get it just before the next election. And so slowly you'll work your way up to that sort of thing. But now this has become a universal problem because the electorate has enabled it. 30 years ago, I wrote a book called India from Midnight to the Millennium, where I talked to that point about this precise phenomenon, which had happened in Andhra Pradesh, undivided Andhra at the time, when the parties were competitively promising rice at 3 rupees a kilo, 2 rupees a kilo, and 1 rupee a kilo. And I said, I mean, this is going to be absurd, and sure enough it was. And then Chandrababu Naidu actually tried to argue the case at that point. In talking about the 90s, the book was published in 97. Tried to argue the case that this is not something the state treasury can afford, that we have to generate revenue, so I'm not going to make these promises. And he promptly lost his attempted re-election. So the voters want these promises, they want these freebies, and that's unfortunately something which, in a democracy, remember, India is the only known instance of a democracy that has actually empowered voters to make these decisions, while a majority of the voters are still, by global standards, living below the poverty line. So the onus in our democracy on politicians is to please a majority of the electorate which is living at a level of subsistence that requires the kind of fundamental assistance that politicians are promised. That's why these promises are made. And while Tamil Nadu might be extreme in the kinds of gifts that are doled out and so on, as a general proposition, this is a circle we all have to square. And it's not easy to figure out, but there's got to be some limits, whether those limits are to be introduced by the judiciary, which has been making more and more adverse comments about this practice, whether it's introduced by law, so that the law can tie everyone's hands equally so that parties can't competitively outpromise each other. I don't know. But at the moment, we have this phenomenon across parties, and as I say, the BJP is not an exception. And in every case, they are, at bottom, unsustainable.
Tejasviji, please, your comments before we turn it over for questions.
I think both have very comprehensively answered this question. There is only one other dimension I want to add. If you look at the manifestos of all political parties these days, and I say this with a lot of responsibility, more and more every political party's manifesto is turning out very similar. There is no distinctive economic philosophy that you kind of understand if you look at the manifestos. That is the fundamental challenge of a competitive democracy. Now, if you have somebody who is promising a 2,000 rupee dole, you cannot be you cannot take this idealist position and not be left out of the race itself. So you will have to say, okay, I'm going to give you 2,500. That is the nature of competitive politics. There is one way that this can be addressed. One is, of course, the judicial way. The second is what the Planning Commission and the Finance Commission has done with respect to the 50-year loans that they are now giving to the states. Now, between 1980s to 2024, the Maharashtra Industrial Association, it's called Mitra, they conducted a survey to understand how devolution of funds tied to capital expenditure will actually result in poverty alleviation. So what resulted was an unbiased analysis that when there is devolution of funds, and that devolution of funds is tied to mandatory creation of capital assets, then that results in a virtuous cycle of investment and leading to prosperity. Now, what the government of India has done, according to the Finance Commission recommendations, is they now offer 50-year interest-free loans to state governments. But the one condition is that out of the 50% of the funds that you get as this 50-year loan must compulsorily go into creation of capital assets. So this is one way of addressing this mindless rave-d politics, for lack of a better word. But this is a challenge to India states. Largely, if we are looking at the economics of India states, more and more it is being, it is evident that many states are now on the path of not actually meeting their fiscal targets. This is a very serious issue. And across the board, serious political parties should actually consider addressing this within the economic and institutional frameworks. This is something that we need to address comprehensively.
Thank you so much. We will be going over for questions. There will be a lot. We can do 3. We'll start with Arunji.
Yeah, since it relates to very much what was being discussed just now, I think you are seeing a little too much on this rave-d politics. People say that they want more money and give them and do the transfers, etc. But look at what they are doing. People are not voting for the parties that are necessarily promising. People are voting for those parties that deliver good outcomes ultimately. Why does Yogi come back each time? Why did Naveen Patnaik come back 5 or 6 times? Why does the Gujarat government come back since 2001, one after the other, they have won back the elections? Why do the incompetents get thrown out? Why did DMK get thrown out? Why does in Rajasthan, once Congress gets thrown out, then the BJP gets thrown out? I think people actually are voting very, very sensibly, throwing out governments that they don't deliver, and returning repeatedly those who deliver. It is just the political class which are not understanding this very well. So personally, I mean, we studied in the Finance Commission in great detail this whole issue, and we had a long chapter actually also on the numbers and all as well. But my own ultimate conclusion was that this is not something, I mean, of course, Finance Commission could not have said much because, every scheme that you do, say free transportation to women, has something good. So how does anyone kind of say that, oh, shut it off? So it's very difficult to take an objective view. There is no easy way to do it. So we didn't take a view there. We just documented the subsidies and all. But I was personally less worried about it. I think this culture will gradually go away. I mean, look, the Congress has been the one that has been promising the most. How many elections has Congress actually won? So that's my kind of thought, that I mean, I'm less worried. I think, people know what they want and how they are voting in a way. It's only the political class which have to perhaps catch up with the reality. And hopefully they will actually, in many of the states, they are catching up.
Okay, I'm going to take 3 quick questions. 1, 2, and then I'm going to go over there, 3 white. 1, 2, and person in the white. So we'll start here.
Namaste. There's a lot of talk about the delimitation bill that was in Parliament. It didn't go through. Just want to hear your comments on that. Why didn't go through, and what are plausible formulas that we can have that going forward, especially in the southern states. So.
Please, we request that you keep it brief because we do.
Voted against it.
No, I didn't vote against. Well, we voted against the Trojan horse of bringing delimitation in under the mask of Nari Shakti, of women's empowerment, but that's another issue. Now, on delimitation, very simply, what is the issue at the stake? I mean, both Tejasvi and I spoke in that debate, and the way it's being couched, essentially, is that we need to redelimit because one citizen, one vote, one value is the core principle of the Constitution, since the freezing of delimitation of Lok Sabha boundaries, according to the census of 1971, we have a situation in which undoubtedly the northern states, which population has grown by leaps and bounds since, each MP represents a larger number of people than a southern MP because we have been controlling our population and curbing numbers, and they've gone down. Now, the problem with this, of course, is that if you follow purely one citizen, one vote, what you're going to end up with is a situation where there will be a disproportionate number of MPs for the Hindi heartland states, which are the ones whose population has burgeoned dramatically, and the southern states will feel disenfranchised because on many issues, an absolute majority, and quite conceivably before too long, a two-thirds majority, will belong to the states in the north, who will then be able to impose their view on. I mean, I've noticed, for example, every year some chap will stand up and want to pass a law saying that Hindi should be the national language, and the Tamils will immediately get up and scream. Now, what happens if they actually have the two-thirds majority to make that a law? What happens to national unity? So these are fairly important questions. The Constitution calls India a union of states. And so the idea is, in addition to one citizen, one vote, you need a counterbalancing principle of one state, one equal partner in the federal arrangement. And how do we find that? These debates have taken place in other democracies. In America, they worked out the Connecticut Compromise, whereby the lower house reflected population, and it keeps getting changed depending on demography, but the upper house is equal, so a tiny state like Vermont or Delaware has the same number of senators as California or Texas. And this is something which is a way of balancing, because also the Senate in America has far more powers than the Rajya Sabha does in India. There is a second formula that we need to think about. Is it not time for us to reimagine our entire federal structure? Does it make sense to have a state like UP with 280 million people? Should we not seriously empower a states reorganization commission? When Mayawati was chief minister of UP, she passed a resolution demanding that UP be broken up into 4 states. Now, if you were to able to do that, if Maharashtra became 2 states, whatever, you can look at the possibilities. You may have more states in India, and then each of them could have equal upper house representation without it being so anomalous that Sikkim has the same number of Rajya Sabha MPs as UP. Wouldn't make sense, but if UP were 4 states, it might be more balanced. There is a third possibility. The European Union also has a problem of powerful states and poorer states, which is done through a principle of digressive proportionality, where yes, the larger states get more European MPs because they are larger and they have more people, but it's not strictly according to population. There is a floor below which the smaller states don't sink, and there is a ceiling above which the larger states can't go. So again, balance is brought about. Finally, in India, there is one more complication, which is that it so happens that the less populated states are also the ones contributing most to the national exchequer. States like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, even Kerala with its remittances, give a lot more to Delhi than they get from the Finance Commission. Arunji is still sitting there. There's been complaints and concerns about the proportions allocated to various states. So we're the only such example in the world. In most other countries, the richer states happen also to be the more populous ones. Italy, for example, which had similar debates. In India, it's the opposite problem. And that could result in serious challenges to national unity. And I've summarized all this as quickly as I could. Those who are really interested can read my article in the Indian Express. Both Tejasvi and I spoke on it. And if you're really interested, you can also watch our speeches on YouTube. The bottom line is, what I believe we need is a grand national consultation on these issues. In the normal course of events, thanks to the constitutional amendment passed by the present government, you will have a census that will come through sometime between 27 and 29. Those figures will then lead to a delimitation, and probably around the time of the 2034 election, you'll have a new map of India, politically. Between roughly 27 and 34, you need to have a profound debate about the future shape of this country for the next 50 years. And that debate is something that I've been calling for, because it goes to the very heart of Indian unity. We all love India, Indian civilization, Indian unity, the Indian idea, the Indian cricket team, whatever. But how we design that India politically is going to have far-reaching implications for how we get from here to there. If you allow it simply to go through this mechanical thing, or worse still, pass a delimitation bill in haste, you end up really jeopardizing the unity and future of India. That's the broad answer from my point of view.
Now, giving you the other perspective, which is the right perspective also. Now, where do you see your MPs in India? I see my MP only in the newspaper. 22 lakh people, 25 lakh people, 30 lakh people, 3 million. They vote. Only time as MP does some ribbon cutting, we all see in the newspaper. Now we can keep speculating options, we can keep giving grand bargains, but India needs a solution. Tamil Nadu's TFR is already at 1.4. We are one of the lowest in the country. We are at 1.4. 2026, whatever the parliament restriction was put 50 years before, 225 extension is coming to an end. Census numbers will come. Now this is one thing where the North Indian states, which naturally might deserve a larger number of MPs. Now this is a grand bargain between a North Indian states and South Indian states to come to a definite conclusion that let us all arrive at a number in which nobody is losing what it was already at 543. Now I really simply don't understand why Congress opposed it. And now, even now they speculate option 7, we have option 11, we can endlessly debate it for the next 20 years. This is an opportunity for all states to come to one common point, agree, where Tamil Nadu will believe if we go by 2011 census, Tamil Nadu will get 50. Now in the new model, we are getting 59. We are getting 9 more extra. UP might believe, oh, one person, one vote, we should have gotten more. Now because of this grand bargain, we are getting less. So this is a problem where every state will rightfully believe I am losing or I am gaining. When the central government has proposed a concept where let us arrive at a solution where nobody is losing, nobody is gaining. 50 years it has kept us from now. Now we have to just push it further. And now again you start a debate, again states like Tamil Nadu, which rightfully, after 1965 agitation that happened, which torn apart the state, again we go for it. I don't think we'll find a solution, which I particularly believe, Shashiji with his eminence can argue, put in the parliament as different perspective, but this is a solution we are arriving at. And now when they say it's a Trojan horse, Nari Shakti, today we are on Mother's Day. And India rightfully is demanding a 33% reservation, rightfully.
Pass it today,
From
vote for it. Today, you can vote for it immediately. Don't link it to delimitation.
No.
Have one-third reservation for women in today's parliament, we'll all vote for it.
After census numbers come, will North Indian states agree? Let us imagine census number come by 27, 28 or 29, let us imagine. Will states like UP agree? If a state like UP stands up and say, no, the proportional representation, one person, one vote, we need more number of MPs, where will we go and put our head? A grand bargain is a bargain where every state should come to a conclusion that this is a solution. Unfortunately, it does not happen.
But a parliament of 850 is also a disaster. As it is with 543, many people don't get a chance to speak, to debate, to discuss.
I am seeing the MPs only in the papers, sir. At least
That's
let me
what
have the opportunity
so
to
then
see the MPs.
we also need to work out what the MLAs do, what the councillors do.
Agree, sir.
Especially
That
where
part I
empowered,
agree with
and what the MPs do, so we can have a distinction rather than going to 850.
We will move to the next question because this is.
Can I take 30 seconds?
Okay, quickly, please.
There is an inherent logical fallacy in the Congress's argument, and that is all I want to say. They are okay with maintaining the 1971 proportion of seats. So Shashiji is okay if the delimitation exercise is conducted within states based on the 1971 numbers, as long as 543 is the number of seats. What we are proposing is exactly the same. What we are saying is let us maintain the proportion of 543. No state will lose, no state will gain. From 543, the number of seats will become 850. Every state will have a proportionate 50% increase. The total percentage in the overall floor of the parliament for every state will remain as it exists today. But because in 1971 the population of the country was 550 crores, was 55 crores, and today the population of the country is 140 crores. This is a mathematical necessity. Like what Annaji mentioned, I represent a constituency of 26 lakh people. It is impossible for a common citizen to actually go and meet the MP and get things done. So not just because it is a constitutional mandate, because the constitution asks that delimitation should be done once in 10 years, it is also a democratic necessity because in the existing framework, there is no question of accountability as far as the elected representative is concerned. So the argument is absurd because you are asking for a composition of the parliament to remain frozen in time. 543, 1971 population. cannot cater to a democracy of 140 crore people in 2026. That is limited.
The US House of Representatives, we are in the US, has remained at the same number of 435 since 1929.
It is clearly not
what the US
well.
population has tripled. The US population has tripled since 1929, but because they recognize that you cannot have a debating chamber of 850. It'll become a Desi version of the Chinese People's Consultative Conference, where you just stand up when the great leader comes and thump your desks. You won't have a chance to speak, argue, debate, anything. 850 is a joke. It cannot be a serious
Shashi ji, on the day of the discussion happened, both of our columns appeared in the same Indian Express, arguing both our sides. The Indian Parliament was sitting for about 150 to 160 days in the 1950s and 60s. In the last, and there's a decline that is happening. Now we see around 55, 56 because of the disruptions of the Congress. You don't allow for the debates to take place. No, coming back, the point is, if you are increasing the number of seats, please also mandate an increased sitting of the parliament.
Correct.
So it is, you shouldn't be taking away the right of a citizen to be represented effectively, accountably, by making an argument that 850 is too big a number. It's a country of 140 crore people. You need a big parliament because I want to speak to my MP. I want to meet him. I want to know what he is working on, and I want to hold him accountable, which I'm not able to do with a 26 million electorate today. 26 lakh electorate today. That is the limited point. We want to make democracy accountable. We want to ensure that there is an accountability between the voter and the elected. And while doing all of this, we want to ensure that neither the North nor the South feels somebody has lost and somebody is unfairly gained, while also maintaining the principle of one person, one vote, that is sacrosancting the Constitution. Now, the other argument that one of your colleagues gave was linking linking the number of seats to the GSDP of a state. Now, how absurd is this? It's such a cyclical number. 6 months, the GSDP is high, so you increase the number of seats. It's a bad monsoon year, so decrease the number of seats the next year. These are the illogical arguments put forth by the opposition. It doesn't work. We had proposed a very responsible, very workable, practical solution. Maintain the proportion as it exists today. 50% increase flat for every state. Constituencies will be made smaller. Democracy will become more accountable. And this was what I think is the only practical solution if we actually want to have 140 crore people adequately, effectively represented.
We will have to cap the discussion because we are running out of time. I'm going to ask each of you very short, 15 seconds, I'm timing it, your short message to the Stanford community and to the folks who have gathered here. Very short, 15 seconds, go.
I'm not known for brevity, besides it's 2-to-1 right here, so I get twice the length. Yeah, I get 30 seconds. No, honestly, all I would say to the Stanford community is please stay engaged. I'm so glad that you're having this kind of discussion. And the more you stay involved in what's going on in India, you all have tremendous ideas to offer. You're doing cutting-edge work and research in a lot of fields that are relevant to our country. Stay engaged with us. I mean, what we're talking about is only one aspect of it. There's so many others discussing so many things. Give us an opportunity to share our current thinking. In turn, please influence our ideas and thoughts so that when we go back to India, we go with some of the latest cutting-edge thoughts that you've all got in your respective fields. And let's try and keep this dialogue going. The diaspora, I've often called the National Reserve of India, not just the non-resident Indians, the National Reserve of India. And we need to be able to count on your continued engagement, support, and goodwill in the time ahead. It's not always been there, so I hope it'll come. Thank you very much.
To the Stanford community, proud of you guys. Last year, small room, less than 50 people, to such a big room and such a great audience here. It shows the leap you have taken in 1 year, third year running. Come back to our country, go to villages, stay there for some time. Whenever you come for a holiday, take 4 or 5 days, go and stay in a village. See everybody, don't stay only in the urban areas. India is changing fast. Take time to meet the parliamentarians. If there is an opportunity, work with them for a week or 10 days. Put your solutions in action there. And trust politics actually works. And don't stay away from politics. They're good politicians. and be a fellow with them, work with them, elected representatives, put your thinking into action. You will see the change that is possible in front of you. Thank you.
I have been a student organizer myself. I know the kind of effort student organizations have to put to pull off an event of this scale. So congratulations, the team has done an exceptional job. Like Annamalai ji said, India holds exceptional promise. Please come back to India, not just to learn, but also to effectively contribute. I have seen so many thought leaders, tech leaders come to India, work on solutions because they believe, rightly so, that if you solve for India, you're actually solving for the world. So all the very best, and the next few decades truly belongs to all of us. All the very best.
Thank you all so much. And on that note, we would like to felicitate our panel for joining us today.